This video is brought to you by Hot Cabinet. Keep your trophy case clean and fresh like those of our premium clients. One thing that makes football and tennis different from American sports is that there's usually more than just one title to fight for in a given season. Way more, in fact. Thus, when compared to names such as Allen Iverson, Barry Bonds, and Dan Marino, it seems impossible to find players of that caliber in football who finish their careers empty-handed. Or so I thought. Here are some famous footballers who came close at one point or another, but never lifted any domestic league or cup, continental or national honor in their entire careers. We begin from the eternal city of Europe. Roman native Luigi Di Biagio was one of the best defensive midfielders during Serie A's golden era, and probably the only player of his time and caliber to never win anything. Having come through Lazio's ranks, Di Biagio made his name as a lethal ball winner with a rocket in his locker at rivals AS Roma. As the lesser of the seven sisters, Roma never really stood much of a chance at the Scudetto. It was when Luigi headed north and joined one of the stronger sisters that his performance peaked, alongside his misfortunes such as Roma winning the league right after he left. Inter though had their own shot soon after, going into the final day leading by a point. The sunny Stadio Olimpico seemed perfect to crown its former hero/villain, as Inter twice took the lead against Lazio. But in one of the most memorable season finales of all time, the Nerazzurri suffered a catastrophic comeback, and what was left to evaporate under the sizzling Roman heat were but Ronaldo and Di Biagio's tears. You might say, what about the national team? To be fair, it was during his short stint with the Azzurri that Di Biagio came closer to tasting silverware. And honestly, it couldn't have been much closer. As a midfield starter, Luigi and Italy made it all the way to the final and held the lead deep into stoppage time. The Azzurri hadn't lifted a trophy in 18 years. Di Biagio had it for his entire life. So close, they could feel the warmth from their hearts. The warmth of outpouring blood.
Trezeguet. Wiltor. Et but! À la dernière seconde! Les Transalpins, Pires. Il est passé. Centre en retrait. Et but! Et but! Trezeguet! Le but en
Staying in Rome, literally not moving an inch, we turn to three-time Serie A Golden Boot winner Giuseppe Signori, who you could say was Harry Kane before Harry Kane. Though different in many ways, the two have one thing in common. Both are premium clients of Hot Cabinet. Keep your trophy case clean and fresh. Signori grew up in northwestern Italy, but was rejected by Inter's youth rank at a young age. He instead made his name down south in Foggia, and back to the center in Lazio, where he became one of the world's finest forwards. Due to his early training as a winger/second striker, Beppe had one of the most versatile weapon arsenal of any forward in his era. Inside the box, outside the box, volley, set piece, you name it. What you cannot name though are his major honors. In fact, just like their rivals, Lazio during Signori's time never once made a major final, and their lone league runner-up was not that close either. As Sven-Göran Eriksson arrived at the Olimpico, Beppe gradually lost his spot and in a cruel irony left in January 1998, only to watch L'Aquile lift the Coppa Italia at the end of that season, and the Scudetto itself 2 years later. He would then enjoy a nice revival at Bologna, winning the unofficial Intertoto Cup and pushing deep into cup competitions, but ultimately stood awkwardly among his decorated peers as the Serie A's 9th highest scorer of all time. There was another similarity between Beppe and Kane, and Di Biagio, I guess. Both came closest to winning with their national teams, and both lost in the same fashion. England, of course, continued their penalty cliché versus Italy, but that cliché actually used to associate itself more with the Azzurri. under the scorching American Heat 1994 edition, and despite being used by Saki in midfield rather than in his favorite position, Signori still played his part to support Roberto Baggio, who dragged Italy all the way to the final, the first ever final settled from 12 yards, where Beppe, the penalty specialist, was excluded due to supposed disputes. One can only imagine. From a forced midfielder back to a real one, Valencia CF are the 5th biggest club in Spain, with 18 major trophies spanned across its rich history. So one would think that their record appearance holder and longtime captain surely had a part to play in one of those glory moments? The answer is a shocking no. Well, if it was a yes, then it wouldn't be in this video. Regardless, Spain's golden generation kinda put many stars before them in the shadows. Among them stands Fernando Gomez Codemel. Fernando's youth coach once told him, "There are millions of midfielders out there. You need to stand out by either scoring lots of goals or defending well." The hometown kid chose the former and never looked back, becoming Los Che's top scorer for 4 straight seasons and eventually finishing 4th on the club's all-time chart. Unfortunately, his personal success never translated into filling his boyhood club's trophy case. Valencia were in its darkest period, with the cost of revamping the Mestalla forcing the club to part ways with much of its old core. Homegrown talents like Fernando were thrown into the fire, but they couldn't save Los Murciélagos from relegation in 1987. El Catedrático and company did come back right away and had some fair shots in the next decade. Valencia finished league runner-up in 1990 and 96, and in 1995 made their first Copa del Rey final in the Fernando era. Standing between El Capitan and his dream come true were only final virgins Deportivo. This exceptional matchup was further dramatized by heavy rain at the Bernabeu, forcing the game to a halt at the 79th minute mark with the score tied at 1. Resumed 3 days later, Depor broke the deadlock 2 minutes into the restart, and that was the closest Fernando ever came to lifting a trophy for the club he dedicated almost 2 decades to. Los Ches broke their title drought at last in 1999, handsomely so, as they stormed through the Copa del Rey with no regards. Only one thing: Fernando left the club last summer. I don't know what went on in his mind watching Mendieta lift the trophy. I know I'd probably be questioning my sanity. But hey, it was El Catedrático's own decision to turn down calls from the Madrids and foreign powers at his very peak. As he best said it himself, being a footballer is a privilege, but being a footballer for Valencia, even more so. Last but absolutely not least, Yildiray Baştürk, the only trophyless Ballon d'Or top 10 finalist. Born in Germany to Turkish parents, Yildiray, as his name suggests, broke out as the shining moon of Wattenscheid 09 and then crosstown rivals VfL Bochum. Clearly too good for such a yo-yo club, he was snapped up by Bayer Leverkusen in summer 2001, both probably unaware of the sheer greatness awaiting them in the upcoming campaign. The new number 10 proved a seamless addition to the best midfield in Germany, helping Bayer rolling on all 3 fronts towards the end of the season, himself writing memorable moments such as scoring the equalizer against Barca and assisting the winner against Liverpool in the CL quarterfinals. Unfortunately, just like Germany in World War II, all 3 fronts collapsed at the end. Losing captain Novotny in that famous Liverpool win decimated team morale, and the paper-thin squad had reached the limit of its supply line. Their 5-point lead over Dortmund was erased in a flash with back-to-back upsets on matchday 32 and 33. They couldn't stop the open floodgates in the Pokal final, and in the most agonizing fashion, they lost the European Holy Grail to a once-in-a-lifetime wonder goal and wonder saves. To show just how good this team was, 6 members from the Vaksev started in the semi-finals of the ensuing World Cup that year, the most surprising being our one and only Bashchu, who translated his tremendous club form to shocking the world with his nation. In the Battle of Redemption Tours, Ronaldo came out on top eventually against the Leverkusen gang in Turkey and Germany, the latter only adding more grief over the summer of 2002. Nevertheless, highlights with both club and country earned Yildiray a 9th place finish in the Ballon d'Or, which is pretty much the only reason the Turk made the list, as his career fell off the cliffs of Gallipoli, never coming close to any major trophy since. The same cannot be said for his teammate Bernd Schneider though, who of course were one step closer to the World Cup and in addition finished runner-up twice more with Bayern. Even his namesake couldn't escape tragedy in the manga series that you might have heard of.